Yeah, you read that title right. I guess I was wrong about Diablo 4. Some of you guys may remember that I made a video right after the Diablo 4 official beta, where I basically gave my first impressions and talked about what I, didn't like and what I did like about Diablo 4. Mind you, this was the first time I actually had tried a Diablo game, and well, this time is actually the first time I've finished a Diablo game, because yes, I've completed the main story in Diablo 4. I've played through basically everything. Well, of course not everything, because I still haven't maxed, leveled up to max level and stuff like that. But I have played a lot of Diablo 4, but right after the main story was completed, I sort of, felt satisfied. I probably won't pick it up and play it again in quite some time, because I mainly played for the story, because I'm a story type guy. But that isn't to say that stuff about the game is, like anything else about the game, is bad or anything. It's just I'm mostly that type of guy. In any case, I kind of want to talk about the performance first, and then we'll move on to other things. And I'm pretty surprised at how stable Diablo 4 has been compared to many other releases, like compared to maybe Jedi Survivor. Just as a single player campaign, just playing through it has been completely seamless. Now, yes, I bought the Ultimate Edition or whatever, so I got a few days before everybody else, so I didn't have to struggle with the server queues and whatnot. So that might explain it, but just from a technical standpoint, everything about the game is pretty stable, and I didn't suffer any disconnects. I didn't have any trouble with frame rates. I didn't have any such issues. It was just a very seamless experience. And coming from Blizzard, that we all know has had quite the interesting time the last few years. It's pretty surprising that they managed to make it so clean. And I guess with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the character creation, because this is one of those things that I primarily love about RPGs. And well, let's just say that when it comes to Diablo 4, I think the character creation is pretty lacking. I would have liked if there were more options, if there was, more facial options, more customization options for accessories, hairstyles, and whatever, because it feels kind of lackluster. There is one issue I have, and I guess this is just a general thing when it comes to Diablo, is the kind of set body type that you have. I know this is nitpicking, but I wish that I could play a druid, but as like a regular dude, or as a female or male character. As much as I think it's good to have thick characters to choose from, me myself, I felt like I kind of want to play somebody who's my size, I guess. That's a super nitpick. It's nothing major, but I wish, things like that were a little bit more extensive, that you can customize your character to your heart's content, which you kind of can't, because you have a set body type. When you're playing as a barbarian, for example, you're set to be this ultra super hyper muscular dude, and as much as that is badass if you want to play as a pure barbarian, I just felt like it was a bit too much at times, so it really kind of ruined a bit of my role-playing thing going on up here, because I like being able to, play around with different characters of different shapes and sizes. Again, it's not super big. It's not the main purpose of the games either way, and they are supposed to, like, the classes are supposed to represent a certain type of, well, class, I guess. So it kind of makes sense to have a druid be this big thick dude or big thick girl that can transform into a big bear. So I mean, it kind of makes sense when it comes to like class fantasy. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the story, because that, as I mentioned, is one of those things that I primarily look for, and I was pretty surprised at how not great the story is, but it does make sense throughout. It's a very simple story, but it has some twists and turns. It's very dark, and again, as a first-time Diablo player, I was surprised at how dark Diablo is. I didn't think it was gonna be this, wow, this is some dark shit. Because a lot of stuff happens in the game that is just, wow, the slaughter of innocent people, and you have like demons running rampant, people getting torn from limb to limb, children dying in front of their parents. It's like, wow, this game is so dark. It's not what I expected from a Blizzard game. But then again, you know, I haven't been exposed to Diablo before, so yeah, I guess that's a good surprise. It's pretty interesting world. And speaking of the world, the ambiance of a lot of the areas in the game is just you know, they really nailed that feeling that this world, this sanctuary is completely overrun by demons. There's evil everywhere. You're not safe anywhere. So that is one thing I can appreciate, because when it comes to class fantasy, if you go back to that for a moment, it really makes you feel like you're the only good thing about Sanctuary. You're the only possible hero that can save this completely fucked up world, this universe. And it reinforces that, you know, hero fantasy that I think they're really trying to push, right? I don't know if that's the thing in every other Diablo game, but they really nailed that feeling of, yeah, I'm the only one that can save everybody. And it's interesting because I don't think I've played a game where that feeling is so heavy-handed, right? It's like telling you like you are the only good thing. Like even the angels, even heaven is a bunch of douchebags. And then we have the only good thing, which is the hero, which is the wanderer, which is what your character is called. I like that a lot. It makes it feel like, despite the, you know, the lacking character creation and stuff, it still makes you feel like, oh, okay, yeah, this is, it's making me feel like, yeah, I can feel this, right? Of course, we can't forget about the gameplay and the combat. Now, this was the thing that I brought up in my little review, my very scuffed review, that I was most disappointed with. And I won't say that it's like, oh, this, you know, playing through the entirety of Diablo 4 has completely changed my mind, because I still think that the combat is a little bit lacking. I understand the point about the skill trees, where you're supposed to select a few skills to, you know, just mash around with and then play around with, which is one good thing about the talent tree, because early on you can just basically respec all the time for a build that you feel is like, you know, fitting for you. I've tried every class, mind you, so I have an inkling of how every class works, but I played through the entire game as a sorcerer. And the sorcerer is perhaps second to the barbarian, the most overpowered class ever. But it's not bad, because, you know, I managed to make my sorcerer super overpowered by using a very, you know, very simple build where I tried to make my basic attacks as absolutely powerful as possible, which was like chain lightning and the whip attack or whatever. So yeah, my sorcerer got so strong, and I synergized so many legendaries to make the most powerful person character ever. And I like that. I really like that, because then at some point, if you're just being really smart about it, and if you're lucky with, you know, legendary drops and whatever, you can really create sort of the ultimate hero, I guess. But also, because the abilities are pretty simplistic, it does get pretty repetitive after a while. And if you have invested in a bunch of legendaries to create a certain build, then, you know, switching around to another build that you want to try out is just not going to be as effective, because you've obviously spent so much time building a strong character with a certain build, like the lightning build that I was using. And yeah, I understand that you're supposed to play around with different builds a lot of the time, but again, it's like after you've spent so much effort and time into building one certain build with certain legendaries, it's like, oh, okay, why, you know, why would I put so much effort and time into building another build that's probably not as strong as the build I had? So I just stuck with the lightning build. And yeah, I basically used that throughout the entire game. I killed every major boss in the game. I murked everything pretty easily, actually. For any newcomers, like, I would absolutely recommend playing on the second, the veteran or whatever difficulty, because you get rewarded with like bonus stuff and bonus gold. So otherwise, like, the game becomes way too simple. And I guess that was one of the also main problems, is that I didn't understand the power fantasy after the few hours that I had played with the beta. But after completing the game, I completely understand it. I finally kind of understand it. I understand the point with Diablo. And if there's only one thing that I could ask for in like the next game is like increase the skill slot bar. I would have liked to be able to use different abilities throughout my build and not just use the 5 different ones that I had, because that became pretty repetitive the more I played. Not that it like ruined everything else about the game, it's just it became really repetitive. But yeah, despite what's been going on with Blizzard and all that, it's, you know, don't sleep on Diablo 4 because it is actually a pretty good time. And hopefully the repetitive nature of using the same abilities over and over again isn't enough to shy you or shoo you away, because it is fun. Again, I'm not gonna keep playing it probably unless they like release DLC, story DLC, an expansion, because then I'd be interested in coming back. But for now, yeah, it was a worthwhile experience. Let's say that. In any case, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day. MrHulthen signing out.